Ah, okay.
Is if you flub your elevator speech when you're introducing yourself, or if you shake your hand and your hand is wet from holding a cool drink, or if you're wearing the wrong outfit. Now, those things aren't great, but that's not the worst mistake ever. I remember one time, one of the very first times I ever went networking. Outside of, as a small business owner, I had been working in corporate America, and I'd been to a number of networking events, but always with my peers, with people I knew. And I felt comfortable. There weren't these big Lollapalooza things. But I remember when I became a coach and needed to go to a small business networking event, I was a little bit nervous. I didn't know how they worked. So I prepared myself. I knew I was wearing the right thing because I showed up how I wanted to be seen, which for me is a big issue because a lot of times people show up how they don't want to be seen. And it's like they're saying, don't look at me. I'm not usually like this. Well, how often do you believe that? Gosh, excuse me. I'm so sorry for coughing. So I also prepared myself for going to this meeting by making sure I had my business cards. How many people have you met who have gone to a networking event and you want to exchange business cards with them and they don't have one?
Oh,
Is,
way too often. Yeah.
isn't that crazy,
Oh, it
Becky?
is. It's like, why are you here?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's as if they think that just by showing up and warming a seat or by standing around holding a drink, that business is going to come flying at them. And so they have, yeah, just it amazes me. So I always prepare, but as you know, I'm an introvert, and introverts are most comfortable when we're super prepared. So I'm wearing, my casual business separates that I think look very polished. I've got my business cards. I also know how to introduce myself, and and as a matter of fact, I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a few minutes. I've also got a name tag, and I wear my name, Becky, the same place you wear yours, which is high on my right shoulder. Now, a lot of people wear their name tags on their left shoulder, which is really silly because when we extend our hands, as this gal in this photo is, to shake hands, as you can see, it's the right shoulder that comes forward. Even though most of us are right-handed, we kind of cross our chest when we go to put on that name tag. But if you
Right.
do that, then people will not have a chance to see it when they're shaking your hand. So I've got my name tag on my right shoulder. I also know how to shake a hand. And this gal's sticking out her hand in a perfectly reasonable way, thumbs straight up, fingers together, and her handshake looked like it's going to be firm.
Right.
I
Right.
can't tell you how many people give me a cold fish or the dreaded my lady. Just give me the fingertips. I hate that. It just doesn't feel professional. So, and then also, I know how I'm going to introduce myself with my elevator speech. So I've got all this stuff together, and I go to this meeting, and I got to tell you, Becky, I wish I would have known you back then. So this was before I met you. But I made a foolish first timer mistake. I went to one of those great big, 250 people meetings, these gigantic mixers.
Oh,
And
yeah.
for me, that was not the right thing to do. I wish I Take the Lead would have been around because that would have been perfect. But so my golly, I am so sorry. Anyway, so I walk in and I froze. And I thought, what am I going to do? I don't know anybody here. I'm crazy. But luckily, I was just regretting the fact that I even showed up. But luckily, somebody did talk to me. She was one of the volunteer hosts. And she walked up to me and said, hi, um, who are you? And I said, well, I'm Ronnie Noize. And she said, okay, well, what do you do? And I said, well, I help small businesses attract more clients. And I'm thinking, this is a win. Becky, I was so happy that it actually came out of my mouth. I was thrilled. And I pulled out one of my business cards and I said, and what do you do? So she pulled out her card and we swapped cards. And she told me that she represented, in addition to volunteering for the chamber, she represented a line of skincare and cosmetics sold only through direct reps. I mean, obviously, she told me what the name of the company was.
Oh, sure.
I'm not going to rat her out, though. So I'm like, really? And she said, have you heard of it? And I said, oh, I sure have. Excuse me. I said, as a matter of fact, I'm wearing it right now. And I was thrilled. I'm like, yeah, I'm wearing Garnet Frost lipstick. And I was thinking, sweet, naive, stupid Ronnie, I was thinking that she would be excited to meet someone networking who had not only heard of her line, but was a user.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I was thinking, yeah, we have something in common. We're best friends. But she didn't seem too happy. And she quizzed me, Becky. She said, oh, really? Who's your rep?
Oh.
I don't look like I wouldn't know who my rep was.
I know.
Well, and the lipstick is not that old. So I said to her, well, it's Nienwei Show. Do you know Nienwei? So this gal says to me, no, I don't. But I guess that means I don't need this anymore. And I swear as God is my witness, Becky, she returned my business card to me.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, no.
Can you believe it? So I'm standing there holding my business card and hers, and she'd given me her business card. So she returned my business card. And I guess I don't need this anymore. And I'm like, okay, then.
Yeah, really.
And then at that moment, I realized that wearing the wrong thing, not being able to introduce yourself properly, even not having a good handshake, not wearing the right name tag, none of that was the worst networking mistake ever. The worst networking mistake ever is making someone else feel like they are nothing more than a prospect to you. That this is all about sales. That networking is not about connecting, not about making friends, not about getting to know people, but it was about sales. And so she walked away and left me. And it was quite a humbling experience, and I was so shaken. I would have left, but luckily I did end up talking to some other people. And I realized, wow, she doesn't know what a bad impression that she just made. And this is a volunteer host at a gigantic networking event.
Oh, I know. And that's their whole job is to make you feel comfortable. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Or to introduce what she should have done. If she was really there to network, that's about connecting. She should have connected me. She should have introduced me to someone else.
Absolutely.
She should have talked to me for a few minutes. And as a matter of fact, though, I'll tell you what did happen as a result of that is, two things happened. Number one, I wrote a blog post about it. That may or may not, okay, spoiler alert, it was picked up by the business journals nationwide. And it was printed all over the country, including right here in Vancouver, Washington, where I live. And the funny thing, Becky, is that I got 3 phone calls. I mean, not one of them from her, but 2 of the phone calls about it were from guys. And they're like, Ronnie, read your article. Was that me? I'm like, dude, you're a guy in the computer business. And both guys said, yeah, I know. You're obviously trying to protect the identity of this idiot. You said woman, so obviously it's a man. You said cosmetic industry, so obviously it's computer industry. I'm not stupid. I can figure this stuff out. I thought, okay, all right, Sherlock. But I asked both the guys, do you really return business cards to people? And they're like, well, if they have already got a computer guy, yeah, why wouldn't I? And I said, I can give you 10 reasons. Let me give you 3 right now. What if they want to refer to someone with your specialty in your neighborhood? What if their computer guy drops dead or fails them? What if they move? What if their needs change? There are so many what ifs, and you can never have too many friends. And so when you're handing out a business card, that is not a social contract that we will work together. It is simply a connection. And if I can refer to people that I meet and I've got their business card, I will. And so you should not be returning business cards because it's like saying you have no value to me other than what you can buy from me. And that, I believe, is the worst networking mistake ever. Treating everyone as a potential prospect or as a washed out lead. It's just shocking.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
but the good thing about that, Becky, is that I realized I really needed to feel comfortable introducing myself. And if I was going to walk in cold to a meeting where I didn't know anybody, I needed to have a script. So I sat down and I wrote myself a little script. And I'm going to share it with you. I hadn't planned on talking about it, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and share it if you don't mind.
Oh, no, that'd be great.
Okay, so when you walk into a room and you don't know a single person there, what do you do? Now, most people are okay. Most people can get along. I, as an introvert, get kind of freaked out and I want to go hide. But the thing that I do now is I will approach someone who is usually standing alone. And of course, first I get social permission. That means we make eye contact and then they look away but then look back at me and acknowledge me, nod, smile, raise their eyebrows, something like that. And then I'll approach them. And I have a very, very simple script. And it goes like this. It's just about 3 lines. The first line is hi. Hi.
That's easy.
It is. It's hi. And then I say something blatantly obvious. I don't think we've met. Then I stick out my hand and I say, I'm Ronnie Noize. And I say, and you are. And that's it.
Oh, that's perfect.
It is. And so this also works. So have you ever been to one of these meetings and you're like, I know that guy.
Oh, yes.
But I don't remember his name.
Yes.
So I always assume that he doesn't remember me either, which is actually usually true. People don't remember me all the time. So I will walk up to this person and I will say, hi, haven't we met? Or I think we may have met. I'm Ronnie Noize and you are. And that way I don't walk up and make a big deal out of saying, I know we've met, I can place the face, but I don't remember the name, and I'm so bad with names. And instead of making the conversation all about me and making the other person feel unimportant because I've forgotten their name, I take the responsibility of making the conversation happen. And I just walk up and introduce myself again.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Well, and sometimes people say, yeah, actually, I am your Fred Meyer checker. I see you every Saturday.
Oh.
So true story, has happened. But usually people are really cool about it. And that is just the super easiest way to meet someone. And that is, that's a great way to get connected. But I want to get on to the next point I wanted to make, which is how I built my business. And I know this is the important part of our discussion. I started where I think a lot of people are. And that is, I had just finished I had transitioned my business from being a consultant to being a coach. And I just wrapped up all of my consulting contracts, but I didn't have any clients as a coach. And I remember walking into my office that Monday morning thinking, yay, I'm going to get started working as a coach. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I have no clients. I have nothing. And I looked around my desk thinking, where am I going to get started? And I saw on my desk a little stack of business cards. And I have to say, Becky, I've rarely met someone who didn't have a stack of somebody else's business cards on their desk.
Oh, I know.
And that's what we do. We go to meetings and we get cards. But what do we do with those cards? What is the point of that? So I realized that meeting people was just the first step in the relationship. So we have to do something with that relationship. And certainly I like the fact of going back to the meeting over and over again and getting to know them and all of that. But how do we take it farther? And I realized that what I needed to do was sit down and talk to these people. But what did I have to offer? And I thought about it, and I didn't want to offer them like a free session, because what if they didn't need marketing coaching? They would have no reason to talk to me. But I realized that anyone who was out there networking was probably looking for business. And what I could offer freely and easily is referrals. So I wrote a little script and I called everybody whose business card was on my desk. As a matter of fact, I had 63 different people, 63 different cards.
Oh, okay.
And so
Yeah.
I made 63 phone calls, and here was my script. As a matter of fact, I actually am sharing a copy of it right now. For those of you who want to take a screenshot, it's yours.
Oh, very cool.
Excuse me.
And
so,
just as a reminder, everybody's going to get a rerun, a recording of this.
oh, excellent.
So yeah.
That's great. So as you can see on the left side of this script, Becky, I've got the entire process. The greeting and self-identification, the contextualizing relationship, permission to talk, the express appreciation, the promise of brevity, the explanation for the call. So there's a reason for every single thing in this script. And so my script sounded something like this. Hey, Becky, this is Ronnie Noize. We met briefly last month at the I Take the Lead mixer, and I got your card when we talked after the meeting. Now, is this a good time for a brief chat?
Oh, sure. I've got a couple minutes.
Oh, thanks. I know you're busy, so I'm going to make this real quick. Becky, here's why I'm calling. I've got 2 questions. First, are you accepting new clients? And second, if so, would you be willing to accept referrals from me?
Oh, yes, and absolutely.
Great. How about we get together so you can teach me how to identify and refer the right prospects to you?
Oh, I'd love to, yeah.
Perfect. And of course, I can share what makes a good referral for me. Now, does that all sound okay to you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Great. Thanks. How about we meet at the Starbucks at Lloyd Center on Thursday at 4 o'clock?
That's perfect for me, actually.
Okay, great. And then, of course, if it wasn't, I'd ask when's a better time. All right, Becky, we are confirmed. I will see you then there. Now, after this, I sent a follow-up email confirming, like really looking forward to getting together with you and teaching each other how to refer business. So I made 63 phone calls. And
oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It is a lot, and it took me several days because I just couldn't stand the thought of doing too many at once.
Right.
But here's the really cool thing, Becky. This was years ago, of course, but every single person that I called said yes.
Wow.
It was amazing. So I started going to meetings, and I had a lot of my meetings at a Starbucks that used to be on 18th and Hawthorne.
Uh-huh.
And so I went there, and I'll tell you what the meetings looked like. I learned the first thing, even though the meeting is supposed to be 20 minutes to a half an hour, I learned if I had them too close together that they would start to overlap and things would get weird. My prospects, if they knew each other, might start talking to each other. I would lose control. So what I did was I had my meetings set on the hour, and I was always ready with my own cup of coffee, seated, and ready to meet them when they came in. And I wore my name tag so that they would be able to identify me. And when they sat down, I pulled out I had prepared a little note sheet of the type of information I needed to gather so that I could make a really good referral. And when the person sat down, I thanked them and said, I'm really looking forward to getting to know you and knowing how I can refer to you. Are you ready to get started? So instead of wasting time in chit chat, because I didn't have forever, I had business to get. So I asked them some questions such as what's your business industry, and what would who is your perfect client? Now, unfortunately, a lot of people said the same thing. Well, gosh, if they have a pulse and a checkbook, send them to me. And I would say that, that's not going to work for me. So maybe you can tell me, how would I know now is the right time to refer? Are they going to be talking about something? Are they celebrating or complaining? What is it that I can listen for so that I know it's a good time to refer? So we would have this conversation, and I would write down my notes. As a matter of fact, I always sought permission to write. I asked them, do you mind if I take notes? And this is going to be important later. So yeah, I wrote all these notes, and people really seemed to enjoy the meetings. They liked talking about themselves, and they enjoyed telling me about their business and how they help people, and when I could when I could refer. As a matter of fact, let me see. I think I've got it. So here's my Power Partner system notes. And this is available free on my website. And so people can download this if they like. As a matter of fact,
Oh,
a lot of my stuff is like my networking introduction, my killer elevators speech, and my networking. This is on my free networking tools space under free stuff on my website.
this is the DIY Marketing Center website?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
DIYmarketingcenter.com under free stuff, and there's networking tools.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So, and here's the thing, Becky, though, I would have 2 of these. This is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I would print out 2. And so I would, fill out one. Wow, you're a fast typer.
Oh, oh, you can read that. Sorry.
I would fill out one. And then when it was time, after I asked this person the question, we would still have a few minutes. And I would say, okay, well, let me take a couple minutes to teach you how to recognize and refer to me. And I would hand them a blank one of these notes. And the reason I did it was because I knew if they at least took notes, even if they threw this away, Becky, it would help them remember me.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
And so I would tell them, I know what you're going to ask me. Obviously, my name is Ronnie Noize. Here's my business card. My business category is marketing coaching. And what I do is I help small businesses attract more clients. Now, a good referral for me is a small office, home office business owner, like a massage therapist or a realtor. And you'll know it's time to refer when you hear them say one of 2 things. I love what I do, but I hate to market, or this economy's killing me. And when you hear that, just introduce me by email and I will take it from there. So it didn't take very long, and the person would just generally write down a few notes, and that would be fine. This is an incredibly powerful process. As a matter of fact, from doing this for years and years and years, I developed my networking introduction. So if some of these things sound familiar to you, Becky. So this is what I'm doing. So I had made these 63 phone calls, and I made a ton of meetings. And the first 2 weeks, I had over 24 meetings.
Wow.
But no results. I mean, I drank a lot of coffee, and I got to know people, which was really cool. But I was asking myself, what am I doing wrong? Does this process actually not work? So I started reviewing the steps. And so I was like, okay, so number 1, I met people. So I connected with people at meetings and got their business cards. Step 2, I set up one-on-one meetings so we could teach each other how to recognize and refer qualified prospects. Step 3, I waited. I discovered this didn't work. So I thought about it, and then I realized something, that I had this great idea that there was more to the process than just showing up at networking meetings. And what's really interesting, I wish I would have known you back then, Becky, but people used to think that all you do is go to networking meetings and you're going to get a bunch of clients. But that was the whole thing. You go to meetings, you get clients. And the truth is, that's not how it works. There's always the offline or, away from the meeting, networking and connection and relationship building.
Absolutely right.
Yes, and I realized that was what was happening. And so I asked myself, and I was meeting people for the very first time. I was just completely cold to the business community here. And I thought, what is my duty, my obligation, my part in these relationships? And what should I be doing after I meet them? And I realized I needed to start referring. I needed to make it my business to refer people. And you know what, Becky, that was such a brilliant idea. I have to pat myself on the back here. And I'll tell you why, because it made me less nervous at meetings, because when I was at meetings, I was thinking about other people. I was thinking, how can I help you build your business? Who do I know who should be working with you? And that just changed my business. I mean, it changed my life. So I started thinking, how can I help these people that I've met? Now I know how to refer, and I need to do something. So I did. I started this process of introductions by email. And what it looks like is I send an email to both people. And I introduce the referral partner, the person I sat down and had coffee with, as the expert. And I introduce the person I'm referring as having questions, not as a prospect, not as a lead, not as a buyer, but someone who has questions. And then I include the contact information for both of them, and I leave the follow-up in their hands. Because I got to tell you, Becky, how many times has someone said, I refer people to you all the time, but you never see anybody? So
Oh, exactly. I know. Yeah.
if they were really referring people to you, you would have an email about it.
Exactly. And you do that all the time.
I do.
With me.
Yes. Well, and as a matter of fact, I did 2 referrals today before this call. I introduced some people together to each other. And one person said, I need to hire a social media expert for my law firm because he had a consulting appointment with me. And he said, well, now we need to do all these things you've told me to do. And I said, I know a gal. I will introduce you. And so the email looked like this. Bob meets Sally. Sally is the social media marketing expert that I mentioned. Sally, this is Bob. And Bob has just completed his first social media plan, and he has some questions about how he's going to get this all done while he has a busy law practice. I thought you would be the perfect person to talk to him. Here's your contact information. I'm going to leave the capable follow-up in your capable hands. And so that's how it goes.
Well, that's perfect.
Yeah, well, and that way, I mean, unfortunately, once in a while, I will do an introduction like that, and the person who is supposed to be doing the selling never bothers to respond.
Oh. Wow.
So, and which is pretty bad. And then I have learned not to refer to that person anymore. And typically, what I'll do is I'll call up that person and say, Sally, it looks like you're. Did you receive my email? Oh, yes, I did. I just never got around to him. So are you not accepting referrals is what I need to know. Because I want to refer to you only if you want referrals. Because exactly. I don't want to leave a friend of mine hanging. But the really nice thing is that both of these people feel great, not only about themselves and about each other, but they feel great about me, which is fantastic. I really love this. And so I actually created a template for referrals, and I share that in my networking classes. But I don't even know if I brought it here today. Let me see if I've got a picture of it. Darn, I don't. Sorry about that.
Okay. Yeah.
And so let's talk about going back to this process. So over the course of 6 weeks, when I realized, this was after the second week, that what I should be doing, Becky, was referring. And then when I realized how to refer, specifically that email, well, it changed my life. I did do over 70 meetings.
Oh, wow.
For 6 weeks. Well, I had no business. I had no work. So yeah. I spent 3 to 4 hours a day in meetings. And I gave over 75 referrals. I received 48. Not all of them were good. But the bottom line here, Becky, I got 29 new clients. And what's really exciting here is that these clients were worth about $325 a piece per month to me.
Oh, wow.
It was a little too much. It was I had too much. It was overwhelming, and I guess my eyes are bigger than my stomach, as my mom used to say. So it was too much. But what's really cool is this was many years ago, over 10 years ago. I am still referring to and receiving referrals from some of the people I met out of those original out of the original 63 meetings I had. But let me ask you a question. How many of those 29 clients were part of the 63?
Oh, let's see.
That stack of 63 business cards that I had on my desk.
And how many of those ended up being your clients? I don't know, 20 of them?
That's a great guess. Actually, only one.
Oh, really?
Yes. I have ended up working with several of those people later over the years. But yeah, no. it was their referrals. And the reason is they understood so clearly who was a good referral for me, that small office, home office business owner who loved what they did but hated to market. When they heard that, that's how they knew to refer. And those people ended up being my clients. It was fantastic. It was so easy to teach people to refer to me. Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm going to review the process one more time, and it really is a 4-step process. And the first thing is to go to networking or leads meetings. I prefer leads meetings, like I take the leads. So small group, meeting with the same people, and then occasionally going to a mixer or bigger networking just to shake things up. That's
Right.
what I like. And then the next step, step 2, is the power partner, the one-on-one meetings, going deeply, getting to know people and learning and finding people that I can trust so that I can refer to them. And I don't think I have to have paid someone to be able to refer to them. As a matter of fact, Becky, I have a number of duplicates in my database. Like I can't tell you how many coaches, just tons, but they're all different kinds of coaches. I can't tell you how many mortgage lenders or realtors I know, but I don't refer to just one person. I take into account the person I'm talking to and where they are and what they're looking for and who they are. And that way I make a good referral based on who I think is going to work for them.
Right.
And that,
Personalities too.
absolutely.
I'd say, yeah.
Personalities, values, there are a lot of things
Yeah.
that go into that.
Yeah.
And then I refer by email. And the reason I do this is so that everybody knows. I mean, it's one thing to hand somebody a business card, but it's another thing to say, here's someone I know. I think they can help you. They can answer your questions. You know, here's someone I know who is looking for help. Can you guys get together? And that is a very, very effective way to move things forward. So that refer by email. And then finally, staying in touch. As a matter of fact, today in my email, I got a monthly newsletter from one of my original 63 guys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's been fantastic about staying in touch. And it's great. I do refer to him. Not tons, maybe once a year.
Uh-huh.
But we're still in touch and still sending business back and forth, which is pretty cool. So now let's move on to talk about the lessons that I learned. So this networking process was a real eye opener for me. I learned a lot about myself and I learned about other people. I also learned to drink decaf. Especially if you're going to be having meetings at Starbucks, one after the other. I learned very specifically to pay attention to what people are saying because they will tell you how to refer to them. Either, like I said, they're celebrating or complaining. And when people are talking about their lives and you send them an email saying, I heard you talking about XYZ, and I was wondering if you knew so-and-so who is an expert in the XYZ arena. I thought she could answer any questions you might have. Then both people feel acknowledged and respected and honored by that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as you're saying that. So that's nice.
Yeah. And then finally, I learned, Becky, to make it easy to refer to me. So that's how my networking introduction came up. A lot of people don't have a good response to that question, what do you do? They say, oh, it's hard to explain. Or how much time do you have? And both of those are really crappy answers.
I'll say.
And so you want to be able to just distill the essence of what of the value you deliver to a specific segment of the population so that people can get it. And you're not trying to entice them into a long, drawn-out conversation that's could potentially frustrate them. You don't want to monopolize their time. If they're not looking for or even interested in the sort of services you provide, no matter how mysterious you are, there's not going to be a rainbow at the or a pot of gold at the end of that rainbow. So what we need to do is to be honest with each other and also be as clear as possible. Now, if somebody is in a specific business, they should say so. And they should feel confident that what they have is right for some people, but not for everybody.
Right.
And they should understand that their sales are going to come from people who are ready, willing, and able to buy, not people who get strong-armed or embarrassed or seduced or manipulated or deceived into purchasing. And this is something that we can really manage during the networking process. We can get to know a lot of people, and believe me, we do. We can make it easy for people to discover who is a good referral for us by really understanding what people are thinking, what people are saying, that indicates it's time to work with us. And especially, there are so many people out there who say, I can work with anyone, I can do anything for anybody. And nobody wants that. What people want is they want someone who specializes in people like them and that can help them with a specific thing. And they are not looking for a generalist who can do all things for all people, because how good could they possibly be?
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So there are a lot of things that we can learn from speakers. Well, one of my favorite speakers was Zig Ziglar. He was a hoot, but he said something that I've always thought really related to networking, and that's this: you can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. And that is the beauty of networking and being connected, is that we can help other people without impoverishing ourselves, without diminishing our own success in any way. As a matter of fact, we will maximize our own success when we help other people, when we serve, share, and support, when we make that important connection with their best interests in mind. We don't have to give away our products or services or information. It's enough that we can give away our attention and our relationships and our introductions. And that's how we can provide this fantastic value to other people. And that's really what I think networking is all about.
Oh, I agree. I love Zig.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, wow. That. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I know, as you know, because you are one of the co-sponsors of my networking series, I do 3 networking classes: the networking for newbies, the next level networking. Next level networking is about, so networking for newbies is about what you absolutely have to know to network. So it's the 9 best tips and the biggest mistake. Next level networking is all about how to introduce yourself, what to say when you stand up, and how to say it. And superpowered networking is all about the strategy. Now, one of the strategies we talked about today, and that is my one-on-one power partner meetings. I've got another strategy which is a little more sophisticated, that is bringing me a ton of great leads. And I'll be sharing that this Friday at One Center Point at the Superpowered Networking Training with you, Becky.
Right. In Lake Oswego, Oregon.
Yes, in Lake Oswego,
Oh,
Oregon.
very nice. Wow. Very cool. Yeah, and I haven't. So you took what used to be, and that's what I've been telling everybody. I hope it's true. What used to be just networking for newbies, and you've turned it into like basically 3 separate workshops.
Yes.
Only added more strategies and more tips and all that. So
Yes.
yeah, awesome.
Yeah, because we go in each of these workshops, we go deeper, and there are exercises, so there's more information, there's more participation, and there's a lot more to take away.
Awesome. Because I've got to say that networking only really starts making sense if you're busy practicing it or using it. So I love that. So that's wonderful. So, before we open it up to questions, did you have anything else you wanted to add, or we can see if anybody has any questions?
Well, no, I think that was all I had planned to talk about today, but I'd be delighted to have questions. But I got to tell you, Becky, I have a question for you.
Oh, sure.
So you heard me tell the story of that gal who returned my business card.
Yeah.
When I was networking. So that is, I think, the greatest mistake in networking Do you have a story? What was the greatest mistake in networking that you ever witnessed?
Oh, oh. There's been so many.
Yes,
That's
well,
one of them. And actually, that had happened to Gene. I remember years ago, we were in Gresham at the chamber. And that same scenario happened to him.
oh man, it must be our birthdays.
Exactly. I know. I'm trying to think what it would be. You caught me off guard. I really, just people, I see this time and time again. And people mistake networking with selling, and they come to the meeting, they try to sell. We've had people actually visit and follow up, were you interested in, oh no, I didn't get any leads. I mean, they visit one time and they were expecting to make a sale. So they're looking for sales, and they should be cold calling and trying to sell people on the spot. But I think that is one of the biggest mistakes, is just, which goes hand in hand with a gal giving you back your card and not being interested because she decided you were going to be her prospect.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's just, people really don't understand networking.
Yeah.
And we see it too often. Yeah.
Well, and the funniest thing is they don't understand that meeting the right person can give them an endless stream of qualified referrals who are ready to buy, rather than just that one sucker who says, all right, I'll bite.
Right,
And
exactly.
You can also create a reputation. Really, there's a really smart guy, a scientist by the name of Richard Weissman, who wrote a book called The Luck Factor. And he said that the best way to be lucky is to network.
Oh, right. Exactly, yeah.
And I got to tell you, Becky, all the good things that have happened to my business happened, I think, because of networking. I met you because of a networking meeting.
Right. Then you were having it in your office.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, exactly. And it was back when I used to do a lot more of it.
Yeah, well, there's a season to everything, so
yeah.
Sometimes we're certainly more active in networking, and sometimes less so, and we also do different types of networking, but that's because there are different seasons for our businesses. But networking, seriously, is the smartest thing anyone, as a matter of fact, anyone can do. Tomorrow morning, Becky, at 9:00, there is a class of 25 high school seniors who are in the science, technology, engineering, and math program, the STEM program.
Uh-huh.
These high potential kids, and they are being mentored by a couple of local technology classes. I mean businesses, and it kicks off tomorrow, and they're doing the 6-month program. But the very first thing they are doing, Becky, is they're coming to my office in the Greater Vancouver Chamber in Vancouver, downtown Vancouver, for a networking class. Because all of the mentors at the colleges and at these businesses say there is no greater skill in technology than the ability to network. And they're not talking about electronic networking. They're talking about personal networking. So this 25, 17 and 18-year-old STEM students are going to get a networking training in the morning.
Oh, very nice. Oh, that's exciting.
Isn't that absolutely cool that they recognize this? And what they've told the kids is, you all are smart, you all know the science, and you all know this stuff. What you need to know now is people.
Right.
And you need to know how to connect and how to make friends and how to build a network. And so the very first thing you're going to do when you get off the bus is you're going to have a networking class.
Oh, nice. I love that, because I remember when I went to college, as I was going to be a CPA, and so I was going to PSU, and they said that you had to get really good at networking if you wanted to, especially if you wanted, back then it was the big 8 companies, and you had to learn to network, but nobody ever teaches you that. So I love that. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I also typically every year do a networking class for the graduating seniors at Clark College. So,
oh, wow. I did not know that.
You didn't? Oh,
no.
Yeah, so I talked to them about how to network their way into their next job.
Oh, very good. Because now my understanding is if you want to get a job, that's about the only way you can get a good job anymore is through networking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
only who you know, but who knows you. And
exactly.
so
Yeah,
you can use networking to create a great reputation and to meet all the right people. It really, and that's what Dr. Weissman is saying. That's how you quote unquote get lucky, is because the right people happen to know you and happen to be thinking of you when the right opportunity pops up. And that is true whether you're looking for a job or whether you're looking for a client.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, good. Well, we have a couple more minutes. I just wanted to check and see if anybody has, if you have any questions, feel free to, especially for Ronnie, feel free to post it on the side in the chat. And I'm trying to, oh, Alan's still there. Alan?
Okay.
I wonder if he's there. I'm going to unmute him. Alan, you there? Alan? He may have. Sometimes he gets busy.
Okay, so yeah, he had a question there. Have we ever encountered anyone with a digital business card, and what's
Oh,
their opinion?
okay.
So I think that digital business cards are actually fantastic, but there is no substitution for a hard copy card, and they're so darn cheap. Why wouldn't you have one?
Oh, good for you. Yeah, yeah.
And so I think having both of them, I think, is totally cool.
Oh, I do too. Yeah. Yeah, because I remember we had somebody come into the meetings just with the digital, and it's like, I don't know. It was awkward because people, it was almost like she was trying to take everybody's information, but didn't want to give her information because it was odd. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's.
Yeah, we like to think that we are very, very modern and everything is all digital, and that's super cool, and we're just going to bump our cell phones and have that information. But the truth is that in face-to-face meetings, it's still a very tactile environment, and having a business card gives us a point of focus. It also helps other people remember our names, what we do, and it allows them to share that information with other people.
Exactly, exactly. Oh, and we have a question from Kari.
Uh-huh.
I have a question on when you meet with someone and the person you are meeting with turns it into a sales talk. That's happened to me.
Oh, me too.
Any way to graciously handle turning it back to a networking opportunity rather than a sales pitch? Oh, great question. So, Ronnie?
Yes, so that happens. So as I mentioned before, I would always send an email where I was quite clear, we're going to meet date, time, place. We're going to talk about how we can refer to each other. And I always start the meeting myself, and I'm really clear about the information, and I take notes. And then once in a while, the other person would say, what's going to be just easier for me is I'm going to give you my sales pitch. And because I really think that you can't refer to me unless you talk to me. Unless you buy from me. And what I say is, I'm sorry you feel that way. Because if you won't accept a referral unless I buy from you, then maybe this won't work for us.
Oh, good for you. Yeah.
Just because I'm just not going to put up with this stuff.
Yeah.
And I have stopped people. I've said, excuse me, I'm sorry, Sally, I was asking you these questions, but I'm trying to gather the information I need to refer to you adequately. Are you trying to turn this into a sales meeting? And just by calling it out and asking that question, then sometimes the person will be embarrassed into saying, oh gosh, I'm sorry, just default mode. Or else they might say, well, yeah, I want to sell to you. And then at that point I could say, well, I am interested, or, that's not really the point of this meeting. Today we're talking about how we can refer to each other, and I haven't really allotted enough time to hear a sales pitch.
Oh, good. Yes, that's perfect. Yeah, and being clear up front with what the meeting is for. Because I know I made that mistake years ago. I was a mortgage lender way back when, and I had a leads group, and or I was a member of a leads group, and I met with this gal, and honestly, 1 hour of her trying to sell me. And then when it was my turn to talk, she says, oh, I got to go. Yep. I learned my lesson. That has never happened again.
Yes. Well, I have to say, I have been in those exact same situations, which is why, which is how I created this process, because it's not
Yeah.
like this was the first time I'd ever networked. I had met with people who were just wanting to sell me. Sometimes I've met with people and I thought they wanted to work together, and then what they wanted to do was to sell to me.
Right. Right.
So most people are shocked about this, but I'm protective of my time. And if somebody wants a meeting, I ask them, what agenda do you propose?
Oh,
And
that's nice. Yeah.
yeah, and if they say, well, I just want to get to know you, then I can let them know, well, I do my get to know you meetings at this time, on these days, and I allot 25 minutes for those. Is that going to work for you? Because that's when I continue. I do this type of one-on-one meeting still, but I'm real clear about when and where I'm going to
Right.
do it. And I give it 20, I say 25 minutes, but I'll give it up to 30 minutes.
Right. Right.
Well, and Tanya just asked a question in here.
Oh,
Do I
okay.
do I keep the one-on-one meeting to a certain amount of time? Absolutely. I think if that meeting goes over 30 minutes, then someone's making a mistake. And I got to tell you, the one thing that happened, I had this meeting with someone. It was about 25 minutes long. And the truth is, the way most of my meetings go, it's 20 minutes on the other person, me asking them questions, 5 minutes on me, then we shake hands and we leave. Well, one time this happened, and the guy's like, man, I could totally work with you. I need you. Can we talk about that? And I'm like, sure. So we sat back down, we talked, he wrote me a check, he was going to work with me, this is great. And then as he was leaving, about a half an hour later, he knew the next guy who was coming in. And he said to the other guy, he's like, keep your hand on your wallet. She'll sell you before the day's over.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh my God. And so I realized at that moment that I needed to draw a line between a sales meeting and a networking meeting. So when someone would say to me at the end of our meeting, wow, it sounds like you do what I am looking for. I could be a prospect for you. We could work together. I would say, great. I would love to chat about that. Let's look at our calendars because I've got another meeting I got to get to right now. So can we get together later? And I try to do two things. I need to it's got to be a different time. So it's not a continuation of the networking meeting. It's got to be at least an hour later, and ideally in a different location, because you don't want people to believe that you have brought them there under false pretenses, that whole bait and switch sort of scenario where you say, come on in, let's talk about quote unquote referring to each other when really it's just going to be a sales pitch.
Right.
This is not the time for the sales pitch.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And sometimes, Tanya, I don't always have a meeting after that. I say, my schedule won't allow me to meet right now. I'll blame it on, even if I haven't got another meeting. So I'm going to have to run, but can I call you in an hour? Can we meet in an hour or something? Or can we, something like that? Because you don't want to have that same thing.
Right.
That same meeting.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it happened to me that time.
Yes. Oh, exactly. Well, and another way to keep these meetings short, you just got to be real clear about this, is when you have that little form to fill out, you have an agenda. You have specific questions to ask, specific information to gather, and you can set that expectation. We're going to meet for about 20 minutes to half an hour. I know you're busy. We're going to exchange information, and then we'll stay in touch afterwards. But you don't have to meet with that person for a full hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. I one time had a client that called me and said, I just had a coffee meeting and it lasted 4 hours, and we had coffee and then we had to buy lunch because they were going to throw us out and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God, you're kidding me. Never, ever, ever do that again. A 4-hour meeting just cost you $1,000.
Oh, I know. That's insane. People don't have time for that.
Yeah.
So, and Tanya, I gotta say, I loved watching Ronnie, but I was watching you also the whole time writing away. So I know you got so much out of this.
Oh, good.
That was great. So, Alan, you said you had a couple questions. Just making sure. Did you? I didn't, because the questions started coming in. Did Ronnie answer your second question, or did you have one? Oh, you want to know what her opinion was of the digital? Okay, I guess she answered it. So, oh, she did. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, good. Good. Well, we're right about out of time. And so I know, and Ronnie, I could tell the other people don't know you, but I know that you're still, it's hanging on. You had the flu or whatever it is
Oh,
you've had.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, but I could tell. So I really appreciate you doing this for us when I could tell that you're not feeling up to your greatest. So I really appreciate it. Great information. I am so glad to have everybody on here, and I will be getting out the replays to everybody. So yes, I agree. Feel better, Ronnie. And
Thank you.
thanks everybody. I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting if I can figure out. No, I will. But and then Tanya did mention. I think it was Tanya. We got a couple. Oh, she said it was very helpful. She's so appreciative. I want to make sure Ronnie reads that before I delete it. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm reading all of this. This is great. Thank you, everybody. It's absolutely my pleasure. Oh, can I just say one more thing?
Sure. Absolutely.
So there's a question on here. What if I can't refer to one person immediately? You know what? There are going to be people you can never refer to. But that's okay, because it isn't a tit for tat. It's like a big karma bank. You're going to refer to some people a ton and some people never who will refer to you. And that's just the way it goes. So you do what you can with an open heart and with gratitude, and it'll all work out in the end. And if anyone is withholding referrals because you're not able to refer, that's their problem. At least that's my point of view.
Oh, I agree, and I've seen that happen. And but it's like you said, it comes. It truly is it's a way of life, I think. So yeah.
Becky, thank you for having me today.
Well, thanks, Ronnie, and I'll see you Friday morning.
Yes, I'll see you then.
Okay, thanks everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.